tips for you today. So, let us talk about what's going on um, in the news, right? So, I know you guys have heard that there's a government shutdown and there may not be any food stamps or benefits come November. I've gotten quite a few emails about any jobs that we're hiring like ASAP. Like, you guys are even emailing me for jobs that's, you know, 18, 19, $20 an hour. And I get it because, we're all just trying to eat, right? Everybody is just trying to feed their families and keep roofs over their heads and, keep the home heated and the lights on and the water running, right? All of those things. But I just want to encourage you guys and to tell you not to move in a sense of desperacy. When your back is against the wall, sometimes you can make decisions that are, often forced. They may not be the best. Um, they're sort of like knee-jerk reactions, right? So instead of you holding out for that, job that's, paying you six figures or, 100,000, 115,000, you take a job that's paying you $18 an hour. Why? Because, rents do, car notes do, car insurance do. Kids gotta eat. Baby needs a new pair of shoes and diapers, right? I get it. This is why I encourage you guys and I tell you all to become unfuckwithable. And what I mean by that is one, creating a resume that is just outstanding, that will beat the ATS system, that will get you in the door, that will get you hired, right? That's great. But some of you are dealing with things like ageism, or perhaps, you're you're a stay-at-home mom and the kids are now 4 and 5 and you're trying to get back into work and you're like, well, I got this gap of history, on my resume. These guys, they want to know, what I've been doing for the last 4 years. Like, I've had moms and dads say, well, hey, what do I do when I say I've been at home with my with my 3-year old? Hey, trail riders. Hey, Dwayne. Thanks for hopping in. Um, I tell people, look, you got to get creative. It is 2025. These people are not playing about their money, and neither should you. If you've been at work, out of work 3, 4, 5 years, hey, Madison, how you doing? You know what I will put on that resume? I've been a consultant in whatever fucking field it is that you are um, experienced in. Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. Some people will say differently. You know, listen, I'm a black woman. I know what it's like to tell a job, well, I've been out of work because I've been at home with my kids. They look at you like, you've got three heads. No, don't give these people your business like that. You put consulting. You fashion your resume that you've been a consultant for the last 6 years. When they ask, you've been a consultant in whatever, IT, healthcare, nursing, teaching, whatever it has, you get creative. What I'm saying is, don't put yourself in a place of um, desperacy where you feel like you just have to take, anything. I get it. We got to do what we got to do sometimes, right? But what I'm telling you all is to one, always keep your resume updated. And in this day and age, realistically, if you're not working for yourself, you need to always be looking for a job. I don't, even if you do have one, you stay looking for a job. Before I decided to go all into my businesses and I was still working at a job, let's just say it was a 6 year period where I would be at a job and I was still looking for another job. Because truth be told, I was always looking for the job that was going to pay me the most money. So I stayed looking. I kept looking, I kept applying, I kept looking, I kept applying. I went on LinkedIn. I made sure my profile was active. I made sure that I put on there, I was open to opportunities. The good thing about LinkedIn is you can go on there and put on your profile that you're open to new opportunities. Hey, Bronxy, and they will let you know. Well, they'll hide you from your current employer, which I really like that because who's going to tell their current employer that they're looking for a job? I take that back. I actually had a client that did that. I don't know why she did that. But I told her, I said, look, don't ever do that again. Don't tell these damn jobs your business or your plan. Why? Because when they fire you, they're going to fire your ass. They're not going to give you no warning. Hey, well, when, next 2 weeks, we're going to give you your pink slip. Or, we're going to give you your walking papers, buddy. So make sure that you clear your desk out. You got a week to do it. They're not going to do that. They are not going to do that. Hey, Bronxy, thanks for subbing. Listen, this is what you do. You want to see my face? Then go ahead and I'll give you a 50% off coupon for my one-on-one session. Okay? So make sure you send me an email or you can just message me on this video and then I'll send the 50% off code just for you. Okay? I appreciate that. Um, so back to this client. I was like, look, don't don't ever do that again. Because what she was doing was she actually was in school and she had maybe like 4 months left before graduation. And she was like, oh, I really like this job. And, she was in adult education. And she was like, I really like this job. And they've been great to me. And I just want to give them a heads up. And I was like, why would you give them, a heads up? And she's like, well, isn't that the right thing to do? And I'm like, yeah, okay. So 2 weeks later, she calls me and she's like, well, they let me go. They said they were going to, cut my position, blah, blah, blah. I said, you've been there 8 years and all of a sudden they want to cut your position. That's because you told them that you were looking for another job. So that means when HR was notified, they took your position. They said they was going to phase it out. They're going to take all of those duties, probably plus more. They're going to rename it and they're going to post it again. And probably they already have somebody internally that they want to put in that position. And then they're going to pay them more because now she was going for her master's degree. So that's how that went. Um, I like to come and tell you guys like real life scenarios of the BS that be going on, you know what I'm saying, out here. Because these jobs ain't playing, but you just have to be strategic. You know what I'm saying? If stop playing checkers, y'all gotta play chess. Listen, get on ChatGPT, get on Claude, and you say, hey, I'm gonna give y'all some free game right here. This is something that I teach in my one-on-one sessions. For example, I had a truck driver reach out to me and he was like, I'm gonna just be honest with you, sis. I'm tired of fucking driving trucks. And I was like, you making pretty good money. You know what I'm saying? Driving trucks. Like, are you sure you know what I'm saying? You want to do that? You know. And he was like, I'm tired of being over the road. I'm tired of driving, and he had his own authority. So for those of you who don't know, having your own authority is basically, you work for yourself. He had people on payroll. And he was like, I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I want to be at home with my family. I don't want to have to be dealing with all this BS. So I said, well, have you thought about teaching? And he was like, I ain't no teacher. I just got a high school diploma. I said, so what? You can learn from anybody. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Christian. I just got an interview using ChatGPT for a hospital. Getting an interview is hard in itself, but ChatGPT helped me write it out. Yes, exactly. Congratulations, Christian. Wishing you the best. I know that you're going to ace that interview and that hospital is going to hire you and they're going to give you the pay rate and all the bells and whistles that it is you are looking for. Great job. I love to hear stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's happening. You have to learn how to take AI, and use it to your advantage. But hold on, Christian. I'm gonna get back to you in a second, really quick. So back to the truck driver. I was like, have you thought about teaching classes? And he was like, I don't know really anything about that. And while I was talking to him, his wife was there as well, and she was like, I've been telling him, he needs to just hold on, y'all. Okay, y'all, sorry about that. I'm back. Um, okay, y'all, sorry about that. I'm back. Um, so yeah, make a long story short with that. I was talking to his wife, and I just encouraged her to kind of, I was like, well, are you computer savvy? And she is an educator herself, and she was like, yeah, I work at such and such a high school. I teach the 11th graders, and I was like, okay. So what we did was we worked to put him together a class for truckers. So within that class, he can do a few things. So one, he set up his course equipped with questions, tests, everything. He set up his course. So he's got that online. And now he is also physically, you know, um, teaching these guys how to drive a truck. So the good thing about and this is what I'm trying to say, right? Here's somebody that thought that he didn't have any skills outside of what he was doing, right? He thought that just because he had a high school diploma, like he wasn't qualified to be a teacher. No, this man has been driving trucks for 20 plus years. He is more than freaking qualified to get out here and train. So he's teaching guys in the truck and he's teaching folks online. So now what we're doing is we're working on building him another course, which is going to be sort of like a courier. Well, it is couriers, right? Couriers are people that just drop off packages, they drop off letters. A lot of times we think of like the legal couriers, right? 'Cause for some reason you always think of somebody on a bike, right? With a backpack. But you have document couriers, medical couriers, legal couriers, right? People that drop off um, prescriptions, they pick up to and from pharmacies and things like that, right? Um, so this was a skill basically that, I helped him to put live into a formula, whereas he could sell that. The classes are self-paced. We set him up with a Loom account, and he's talking through his his chapters and everything. Once somebody finishes with that class, they get their certification. If then they want to pay him for, live training, then that's something additional, you know what I'm saying, that he can get. Um and he we talked last week and him and his wife say, they want to start up a subscription service. And this is for anyone, nurses, you know what I'm saying? Nurses know a hell of a whole lot that they don't get credit for. You know what I'm saying? You nurses that are out there, you folks that are in the healthcare field, whether you be a nurse, a LPN, hell, a doctor, you know what I'm saying? You guys can start these courses. You can start these subscriptions. You don't have to charge people an arm and a leg. You can charge people a nominal amount. right? I've seen people do 29, 39, upwards of that. But even if you do something like $44 a month, if you're a nurse, right, and you say, hey, I can help you um, eradicate sugar issues. I have to be careful what I say on YouTube, right? Or I can help you with cardiovascular issues that you're having, right? People will pay that for that information because a lot of people can no longer afford to go to the doctor. How I'm gonna go to my good doctor that I've been seeing for however long with my PPO insurance, and now I no longer have my PPO insurance. Yeah, I can go get Medicaid, but 9 times out of 10, she ain't gonna take my Medicaid. He's not gonna take my Medicaid. You know what I'm saying? My therapist may not take my Medicaid. So what do I do in the meantime? Therapists, mental health professionals, you all can do the same thing. This is not rocket science. It's just about knowing your skill set and knowing that you are going to be able to put together a program. You know what I'm saying? A class. It's about supply and demand. There are a lot of people who are going to be eating out less. They're going to be cooking more at home. 'Tis the holiday season. However you feel about holidays in this country, there's a lot of money to be made right now. Whether you want to do a budget friendly Thanksgiving meal recipe book, how to stay on a diet and still enjoy the holiday season. You know what I'm saying? Things like this, for example. How to keep your children occupied and helpful while they're at home helping you. How can I help my kids to help me so I'm not so overwhelmed at home when I get off from work? It's so much stuff out here. You guys are so super talented. You know what I'm saying? Resumes is only a part of it. Yes, it's a big part of it, but I mean, right now, realistically, with everything that's going on, I need you guys to become unfuckwithable. Okay, so I'm not gonna hold you long. I just wanted to give you guys that, and also, if you find yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in and you need resources, please go on findhelp.org. I'll be sure to pin that in the comments. Findhelp.org. They have resources for food, shelter, getting your utilities paid, going to the doctor, getting your healthcare needs met, all of that. Okay, so all my information is in the link below. Anyone that is in the chat today, make sure you go ahead and hit me up, and then I can send you your 50% off one-on-one code. So, Trail Riders, Dwayne Johnson, Madison Perlman, Bronxy, Christian Barber. And again, Christian, I am so happy for you. I'm so proud of you that you went on ChatGPT and you got what you needed. That really made my evening. It lets me know that somebody out here is listening to me. Okay, so you guys keep that in mind. Find my information in the link below. See you later. Have a good night. Peace.